Hi, you guys. Okay, we're gonna go through section 3 of the milady. Let me just close this door, actually, because it's getting kind of windy. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it was getting kind of windy. Alright, so let's get into it. Section 3, Chapter 5, milady. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Let's get into it. List the types of classification of bacteria. That is what we will be discussing in Section 3. Bacteria are one-celled microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. A microorganism is any organism of microscopic or subscopic size. Some bacteria are harmful and some are harmless. Bacteria can exist almost anywhere: on skin, in water, in the air, and decayed matter, on environmental surfaces, and body secretions, on clothing, or under the free edge of nails. Bacteria are all so small they can only be seen with a microscope. Sorry, my eyes drifted off. It says types of bacteria. There are thousands of different kinds of bacteria that fall into two primary types: pathogenic and non-pathogenic. Most bacteria are non-pathogenic. In other words, they are harmless organisms that may perform useful functions. They are safe to come in contact with since they do not cause disease or harm. For example, non-pathogenic bacteria are used to make yogurt, cheese, and some medicines in the human body. Non-pathogenic bacteria help the body break down food and protect against infections and stimulate the immune system. Pathogenic bacteria are harmful microorganisms that can cause disease or infection in humans. When they invade the body, salons and schools must maintain strict standards for cleaning and disinfecting at all times to prevent the spread of pathogenic microorganisms. It is crucial that cosmetologists learn proper infection control practices while in school to ensure that you understand the importance of following them throughout your career. Causes of disease presents, terms, and definitions related to pathogens. Classifications of pathogenic bacteria. Bacteria have distinctive shapes that help to identify them. Pathogenic bacteria are classified as described below. Golgi, a round-shaped bacteria that appear singly alone or in groups. Staphylococcus are pus-forming bacteria that grow in the clusters like bunches of grapes. They cause abscesses, pustules, and boils. Some types of Staphylococcus golgi, or staph as many call it, may not cause infections in healthy humans, and others may be deadly. Streptococcus are pus-forming bacteria arranged in curved lines resembling a string of beads. They cause infections on such as strep throats and blood poisoning. Diplococcus are spirifolic bacteria that grow in pairs and cause diseases such as pneumonia. I think that means ammonia. The sun is kind of shining on the book. Bacilli, it says, are short and rod-shaped bacteria. They are the most common bacteria and produce disease such as tetanus, lockjaw, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, and diphtheria. Spirea are spiral or corkscrew-shaped bacteria. They are subdivided into subgroups such as syphilis, a sexually transmitted disease, STD, and Lyme's disease. Movement of bacteria. Different bacteria move in different ways. Motility is the term used to describe a self-movement. Clogies rarely demonstrate motility and are generally transmitted in the air and dust or within the substance in which they settle. Bacilli and Spirea are both capable of movement and use slender hair-like extensions called faglia, or for local motion, moving about. You may also hear people refer to cilia in reference to cell movement, but they are much shorter than flagella, and many require more to create movement. Both flagella and cilia move cells, but they have a different motion. Flagella move in a snake-like motion, with cilia move in a roaring-like motion. Okay, so you have cause of disease here. Hopefully you guys can see that. You have the little diseases here. You have, let's go ahead and read these for you guys. Okay. Number one on here is bacteria, one-celled microorganism having both plant and animal characteristics, are some of the harmful and harmless. Direct transmission of blood or body fluids through touching, including shaking hands, kissing, coughing, sneezing, and talking. Fungi, singular fungus, singular cell organisms that grow in irregular masses that include molds, mildews, and yeast. Indirect transmission of blood or body fluids through contact with an intermediate contaminated objects such as a razor, extruder, nipper, or an environmental surface. Infection, invasion of body tissues by disease-causing pathogens. Germs, non-scientific synonym for disease-producing organisms. Microorganism, any organism of microscopic to submicroscopic size. Pathogens, harmful microorganisms that enter the body and can cause diseases. Parasites, organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or in other organisms referred to as the host, while contributing nothing to the survival of that organism. Parasites must have a host to live and survive. Toxins, various poisonous substances produced by some microorganisms, bacteria, and viruses. Toxins. Virus, a suprasomic particle that infects and resides in cells of biological organisms. Okay? So those are the cause of diseases. Moving down. Oh, my computer's going to die. No, it's also saying I have a little disk space. We'll finish this. It says bacteria and growth reproduction. When seen under a microscope, bacteria look like tiny bags. They are generally consist of the outer cell wall that contains liquid called protoplasm. Bacteria cells grow and reproduce. The life cycle of bacteria consists of two distinct phases: the active stage and the inactive or spore forming stage. Active stage. During the active stage, bacteria grow and reproduce. Bacteria multiply best in warm, dark, damp, and dirty places. When conditions are favorable, bacteria grow and reproduce. When they reach when they reach their largest size, they divide into two new cells. The division is called binary fusion. The cells are formed or called daughter cells and produce every 20 to 60 minutes, depending on the bacteria. The infections of the pathogen Staphylococcus aureus undergoes cells divisions every 27 to 30 minutes. When conditions become unfavorable and difficult for them to thrive, bacteria either die or become inactive. Inactive or spore-forming stage. The stage where a bacteria that is capable of forming a spore to protect itself does so withstand an environment incompatible with its existence. Bacteria spore is an ability of certain types of bacteria to form hard coating that will protect it until the environment is more favorable. Certain bacteria, such as the bacteria that cause tetanus and botulism, among others, can coat themselves with wax-like outer shells during unfavorable conditions. This makes them able to withstand long periods of famine, dryness, and unsuitable temperatures. In this stage, spores can be blown about and are not harmed by conditions such as extreme heat or cold. Bacteria spores can only be destroyed through sterilization or bleach disinfecting wipes designed as a particle. However, none of these spore-forming bacteria are known to present an infectious risk in the salon environment. When favorable conditions are restored, the spores change into the active form and begin to grow and reproduce. Bacterial infections. There can be no bacterial infection without the presence of pathogenic bacteria. Therefore, if pathogenic bacteria are eliminated, clients cannot become infected. You may have a client who has inflammation, a condition in which the client reacts to injury, irritation, or infection. An inflammation may be characterized by redness, heat, pain, and swelling. Pus is also fluid containing white blood cells, bacteria, and dead cells, and is the byproduct of the infectious process. The presence of the pus can be a sign of fear infection. A local infection, such as a pimple or abscess, is confined to a particular part of the body and appears as a lesion containing pus. A systematic infection is an infection where the pathogen has distributed throughout the body or a system of the body rather than staying in one body area or organ. Staphylococcus are among the most common bacteria that affect humans and are commonly found in our environment, including in our bodies. Although most strains do not make us ill, staph bacteria can be picked up on doorknobs, countertops, and other surfaces, but in the salon they are more frequently spread through skin-to-skin contact, such as shaking hands or through the use of unclean tools or implements. Although lawsuits are rare, considering the number of services performed in the salon, every year many salons are sued for allegedly causing staph infections. Some types of infections, staph bacteria, are highly resistant to conventional treatments due to incorrect dose or choice of antibiotics. An example of a staph infection is called methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. That is a really long word. Historical MRSA occurred most frequently among persons with weakened immune systems or among people who had undergone medical procedures. Today, it has become more common in otherwise healthy people. Clients may bring organisms into the salon where it can infect others. Some people carry bacteria and are not even aware they are harboring dangerous pathogen. MRSA initially appears as a skin infection, presenting a pimple, a rash, or a boil, or a cluster of boils that can be difficult to cure. Without proper treatment, the infection becomes systematic and can have devastating consequences that can result in death. Because of these highly resistant bacterial strains, it is important to clean and disinfect all tools and implements used in the salon. You owe it to yourself and your clients. Also, do not perform services if the client's skin, scalp, neck, hands, or feet show visible signs of abrasion or infection. Cosmetologists are only allowed to work on healthy hair, skin, and nails. When a disease spreads from one person to another person, it is said to be contagious, also known as a communicable disease. Some of the more common contagious diseases that prevent a salon's professional form servicing a client are the common cold, ringworm, conjunctivitis, pink eye, viral infections, and natural nail, toe, or foot infections. The most common way these infections spread is through dirty hands, especially under the fingernails and the webs between the fingers. Be sure to always wash your hands after using the restroom and before eating. Contagious diseases can also spread by contaminated elements, cuts, infected nails, open sores, pus, mouth, nostril discharge, shared drinking cups, telephone receivers, and towels. Uncovered coughing or sneezing and spitting in public also spreads germs. Terms related to disease list terms and definitions that are important for a general understanding of disease. Then you have viruses. Okay, so you guys are going to have to go through, and I'm going to give you guys, because I'm about to run out of storage space. Write down viruses. You're going to do some vocabulary work in this one. We're going to switch it up. Write down biofilms. You need to Google viruses, biofilm. Oh, we're actually done. Let me just finish reading. It says, a virus, a subscopic microscopic particle that infects and resides in the cells of a biological organism. Viruses are so small they can only be seen under the most sophisticated, powerful microscopes. They cause common colds and respiratory and gastrointestinal digestive tract infections. Some of the viruses that plague humans are measles, mumps, chickenpox, smallpox, rabies, yellow fever, hepatitis, polio, influenza, and HIV, which causes AIDS. One difference between viruses and bacteria is that a virus can live and reproduce only by taking over other cells and becoming part of them, while bacteria can live and reproduce on their own. Also, bacteria infections can usually be treated with specific antibiotics, but viruses are not affected by antibiotics. In fact, viruses are hard to kill without harming the body's own cells in the process. When available vaccinations prevent viruses from growing in the body, there are vaccines available for viruses, but not all viruses have vaccine. There are vaccines available for hepatitis B and varicella, the virus that causes shingles, and you should strongly consider receiving these vaccines as well as those for the seasonal flu and pneumonia. Discuss with your healthcare provider all of the immunizations to consider. Then you have biofilm. Researchers are learning that biofilms play a large role in disease and infections. Biofilms are colonies of microorganisms that adhere to environmental surfaces as well as human body. The secret, a sticky protective coating cements them together and hard to penetrate. It grows into a complex structure with many different kinds of microbes. The sticky mixture substance holds communities together, making them very hard perceived in anti-pests, antimicrobials, and disinfection. It keeps the body in a chronic inflammatory state that is painful and inhibits healing. Biofilms are usually not visible and must grow very large to be seen with the eyes. Dental plaque is an example of a visible human biofilm. Because biofilms are hard to detect, their presence and effects seem to be underestimated. Biofilm colonies are one of the most significant scientific discoveries of the past few decades. We have much more to learn. Conscientiously using infection control precaution, including standard precaution, cleaning, disinfectants, and sterilization are the best methods of prevention at the present time. Okay, so going down through this list, you have allergy, contagious disease, contamination, decontamination, diagnosis, disease, exposure incident, infection disease, inflammation, occupational disease, parasitic disease, pathogenic disease, and systematic disease. And now my laptop's gonna die. That has been section 3 of chapter 5, Milady. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for hitting that like button and the subscribe button. Mwah! Take care.